Hello everybody and welcome along. We'll have to call this the Easter edition of the Rebel Wide Ball. My God, there's quite a lot happening that we hope to talk about over the next number of minutes. I suppose we have to start with Micheál Martin's, can we call it the lifting of the restriction speech. On this occasion, the Titanic steps weren't used, and I suppose maybe as a symbol of hope, the speech actually took place out in the open, and there was reference to birds singing in the background and all that. One of the things that came from it is that he mentioned something about a tsunami of vaccines that were on their way. My God, I think we need those. The EU, and when it comes to vaccines, we are in that particular block, despite what the opposition may think. And I think what the EU had planned is that by the end of March, we're nearly there. Well, we are there. 80% of all the residents over 80 years of age and over would be vaccinated, and 80% of the health professionals would also be vaccinated. To date, the reality is that there's only about 27% of those 80 are over vaccinated, which is a frightening statistic when you think of what's happening in the EU, in the UK, and in the USA. And less than 50% of the health professionals. So certainly, when Micheál mentioned the tsunami of vaccines, we certainly need of those. Then we had the new vaccine rollout agreement, if you like, and of course it's now going to be age-based, and that caused some of the unions to go a little bit ballistic. The Gardaí, the teachers, I suppose the carers, bus drivers. I didn't see much about the factory workers, the hairdressers. I know they're not open for a while, or the supermarket workers. And I can kind of understand, I suppose, why it has to be age-based when you consider that 97% of the 467 people that have, 4,667 people that have died are over 65, are over 55 years of age. So I suppose that's one of the things that guided them, and it would appear to be that's the way it's rolled out in other jurisdictions. Then we were told about vaccine dividends, and I suppose they're talking about holidays and all that. It might even lead to vaccine dates. Who knows? Those of you that visit the dating sites, this now could be included in your profile. And I suppose there might be a bit of a drop down menu. If you have one or both jabs, probably one jab you can bring your rosary bead, and if you have the two jabs, maybe you can be a little bit more ambitious. Anyway, that's kind of what entertained us in that line of business. But then the GAA world came into focus, and yesterday it was all about a certain team in West Cork. And by the way, for those of you that listen to this or follow this particular broadcast, if you're a sports fan or if you're a GAA fan, and if you don't know the identity of this particular team, I'd suggest that your rebel passport should be removed at this juncture. And as well as that, I want to move to dispel a rumour that a member of the said club did not travel to Dublin to organise a training session to do a bit of a distraction. But whoever did organise the training session in Dublin, hey God, he's after taking these West Cork boys off the limelight fairly lively. God, it's incredible when you think about it. I mean, 48 hours ago, the GAA, they issued guidelines that we were to stick to the plan, and they were following all of the guidelines. And then this morning, the front of the Independent, God, it's a great country. A few Dublin footballers, and that captures the imagination. Now, I suppose if you're a GAA fan, you'd say, look how far it has come. 50 years ago, the only time that 9 Dublin GAA players would be, if they committed murder, they might make the front of the Independent. But anyway, they were out before dawn this morning, and wasn't it amazing that some fella, and they were in this club, Innish Falls GAA club, which is kind of off the Malahide Road, alongside a graveyard, that some fella was out there before dawn. Now, he was hardly bringing in the cows, because I've travelled them, and you probably have as well, the Malahide Road. I've yet to see a farmer bringing home down the cows, that particular area. But any of these players are caught and they were seen in their training session. They had a guy at the gate seemingly, but by the way, there's no photographs around West Cork. The main players were mentioned, Brian Finton, Brian Howard and Johnny Cooper. Cormac Costello, a bit disappointed he was there as well, and he never got on it. No, as regards the GAA themselves are really, really annoyed about this, as you can imagine, particularly after issuing the statement, and they're going to pursue these allegations and they'll invoke the necessary disciplinary processes. And I think it's important. It's ridiculous in one sense that all of this is making such headlines when you think about other things that are happening. But that's the country we now live in. Whatever punishment, if you like, that's going to be handed down, it must be in line with what would be happening to any other county, just because it's the Dubs, much and all as maybe you might not like to hear that. And it will probably be along similar lines as what was meted out to Cork and Dow when they organised training sessions earlier on, bit of suspension and that. And the same with the West Cork Club, and I know some of you are mad about them. The same thing happens there. The same thing will happen there if it was Junior B club or a senior club. It's the same. So we didn't think that. We thought we'd be talking about the return to play protocols. The county are returning on the 19th, and thankfully then the 26th is when underage training can begin, and I think everybody is going to welcome that. So that's our little GAA section out of the way. Moving on to soccer, and you don't need reminding. It was a pretty disastrous couple of days. They reckon that our stay in the World Cup lasted, or our chance of qualifying lasted 48 hours. The defeat to Serbia, which was a bit tough, they played well that night, and then to Luxembourg, ranked 98 in the world. And despite the fact they drew at Qatar during the week, this crowd don't have to play at all because they are hosting the World Cup, and to take us a month if you went into the carry-on that goes in that country. But anyway, what's meant to happen here is that, there's Portugal, Serbia and Ireland, and the team that finishes top is going to qualify, and it's down into the next two really, and that was supposed to be between Serbia and Ireland. Anyway, what it means now is that Stephen Kenny has an opportunity. There's an 9-day training stint in Spain, and during that they'll play friendlies against Andorra and Hungary, and after that then it's on to September. They over 1 week, the 1st, the 7th, the 1st, the 4th and the 7th, when they play, they play their matches against Portugal, Azerbaijan and Serbia. And, he'd be hoping that a number of players like, John Egan and Conor Horan will be back. But certainly it hasn't been a good time. That defeat to Luxembourg certainly was more disappointing. But, there are many views on this. Some people that are really in the know will say the man should be got rid of. Others saying this is as good as Ireland are right now, and I doubt if they're in any position to go looking around for any major serious managers, such as the state of finance. Anyway, after the international break, it's now back to the Premier League and the Championship, and most people consider the Premier League to be over, that Man City have that one. But obviously those people that follow the certain clubs will be following their teams, and this Saturday the two big games are Leicester versus Manchester City and Arsenal versus Liverpool. And we better mention our Leeds supporters. They're also in action this weekend. The Saturday they play Sheffield Wednesday, or Sheffield United, the team at the bottom, and then Sunday the big game for Manchester United fans is their meeting with Brighton. Last week we kind of forgot to mention that the League of Ireland was starting, and you have the Premier League, no Cork team involved in it, which is very strange and very rare. But in the first division, you have Cork City and Cove, and they met last weekend, and Cove Ramblers. I think they're kind of trained part-time, maybe 2 nights a week. Cork City train as a professional outfit, and I don't think they were much better. They did win the match though, than Cove Ramblers. But this weekend, tomorrow night, Friday night, Cork City travel to Cabinteely to play the Dublin side. They'll be expected to win that, and then on Saturday you have Cove versus UCD. And for those who maybe that are, I won't say knowledge deficient as regards the first division of the League of Ireland, the big teams they are coming up that would be hoping to be promoted outside of Cork City and maybe Cove would be Shelburne and Galway United. Of course, Galway United, who are now managed by Dean Skeenman, Johnny Caulfield. In terms of rugby, and I know that a lot of the people that follow Munster were really, really disappointed because, some people would argue that Munster were probably lucky to come second to Leinster last weekend in the Pro 14 final. They get an opportunity now again. This is the weekend when the big one is on, the Champions Cup. And on Friday night, you have Leinster versus Toulon. And then on Saturday at 3 o'clock, it's a big one for Munster again, facing the team that are one of the top teams in France when they play Toulouse. We saw some of the vagaries that attached to professional sport when JJ Hanrahan was released by Munster. He's now gone. They didn't renew his contract. In other words, you could say that the man was fired and he's gone to Claremont of Ireland for a year, a 12-month contract. And then West Corkman Darren Sweetnam, his contract wasn't renewed either. And because of some shortage of players in his position in La Rochelle, the club that's managed by or coached by Ronan O'Gara, he's gone there for 3 months. And the expectancy is that, if he makes an impression there, that he would be signed by the French clubs. And then the departure, as we see, of JJ Hanrahan opens up the number 10 position in Munster. There's now down to Joey Carberry, Ben Healy and Jack Crowley. And Jack Crowley, who's only in the academy for 1 year, who was offered a full contract this week. So that's good news for him, and I suppose it's good news for the old halves. However, though, I'm not too sure how Munster are committed to homegrown talent. They signed a guy called Jason Jenkins during the week. And this guy, I think, has only one Springbok cap. He's 25 years of age. They can't say that he's brought there for experience. And, should they be kind of promoting the players that have, come up through the academy? And it would appear to me that there's quite a number of them there. And I know maybe we have the wrong approach to this kind of thing, but just a bit surprised there. And for those who are, the way the GAA in Gaelic football, they're trying to bring the Tailteann Cup. Well, this weekend, the Tailteann Cup in European rugby is the Challenge Cup, and Connacht play Leicester and Ulster play Harlequins in that particular one. In golf, and it's been a good weekend and I know the golf courses haven't opened yet, and they do on the 26th, and surely that'll bring a lot of joy to many people, particularly the retired members of society, who love those of them that do play golf. But on this week, it's congratulations to John Murphy from the Kinsale Golf Club. He's a Kinsale boy, for 22 years of age, and this guy is on a scholarship to Louis University, and he's been selected on the Great Britain and Ireland. For those who are into real, this is called the GBNI Walker Cup team, and they will play the US on May the 8th and 9th in Seminole Golf Club in Florida. This is it's a very much a prestigious award to get. It's a prestigious selection, if you like. And for those who follow him, he won the Byron Nelson Award in collegiate golf last year, and that it was because of his golfing prowess and also his academic prowess. And interestingly enough, for those of you who are into relations, John is a first cousin of Ollie Murphy, who is the well-known, very young horse trainer in England, and also to Dr. Con Murphy. They're all back to the Bearer Murphys, and Dr. Con, it's an opportunity to mention him as well, and probably wish him well. He's involved now in he started today on the 60-day challenge, where he hopes to lose a stone weight himself. But it's also, there's going to be a big fundraising drive here to raise funds for the Cork University Hospital charity. And it's based on walking, talking. He's good at both. Well, he's good at talking. He'll have to get good at the walking. And it's about sensible eating. He might have to sharpen up a bit there as well. But he's a great character. And, we wish him all the best. And as I said, to congratulate John. By the way, for those of you who are into the Walker Cup, most of you probably never heard of it, but it's called after a fella called George Helbert Walker, who was a grandfather of George H.W. Bush and a great-grandfather of George W. Bush. So you have all of that. You have all of that right now. In terms of horse racing, there was a lot of hassle about the point-to-point, and you had a bit of a spat where Ruby Walsh kind of said, look, if you can't afford to have them, you shouldn't be at it at all. But there's a kind of from the 10th of April on, there's a phased and limited reintroduction of point to point, and it's very much phased and very much limited. And it's only an opportunity, I think, for people maybe to get horses out of their yards, but it doesn't, it's not point to point as we know. They're going to be held in the race courses on the 10th of April in Cork and the Lempt and Tipperary, and then the 17th and 18th in Fairy House. But at least there's some opportunity for, a lot of people that have horses that they need to get rid of. And finally, on this particular day, we would like to recommend to you a show, the Rebel Ball. I nearly called it the Rebel's Bounty. The Rebel Ball shout out to Adrigole GAA Club. Their intermediate football team are involved in a fundraiser this weekend. It starts at 11 o'clock on Saturday and it goes until 11 o'clock on Sunday. And the fundraiser, it's to raise funds for their cardiac screening session that they will organise at some stage when COVID allows, and also for the Players Fund. But it's also to acknowledge the incredible work that has been done by so many people, and some who did it in the past, and some sadly who are no longer with us, to acknowledge their role. People that worked in the club, as they say, night and day, and that's why this thing is going on overnight and day. And the players will be running on the walkway, not on the pitch, and they ask, I suppose, anybody really, but particularly from, I suppose, Adrigole friends, no matter where they are on the planet, that they might do something over the 24 hours, whether it's a walk, a jog, a swim, and it's to, as I said, following government guidelines. There's an I Donate page, and they will be hoping that, that as many people as possible will get involved in it. But anyway, there's one particular individual doing it between 7 and 8 o'clock. I think he's kind of doing this at that time. That's, this is going to be Easter Sunday morning. I know some of you will be upset that you can't go to your Easter ceremonies. Well, this could be an opportunity for because it kind of coincides with our Lord rising from the dead, or so they tell us. It's Joey Blake is doing it. He's the PRO of the Cork County Board, and he's also the secretary of the Bearer Board as we speak. The jersey fitting department are fitting with an Adrigole jersey. What he intends to do, he's on that shift from 7 to 8. He's going to solo with a hurling sliotar. The hurley, I believe, is 20 years old. It has been recommissioned, and he's also going to solo with a football. And while this is happening, to torture us further, he's going to live stream this. I can't believe that I'm mentioning it, to live stream this on his Instagram page. But it's all for such a good cause, and we wish them the very best of luck in that fundraising. And it's an online donation system, obviously, like all of them, and it's I Donate, who seem to become the popular crowd now for this. And it's if it's support Adrigole GAA, a heart screening fundraiser. So that's the best of luck to the people down in Adrigole and surrounding areas in that fundraiser. So that brings us probably to the end of this particular broadcast. I obviously thank you for your company. Stay safe, and I would like to take this opportunity to wish each and every one of you a happy Easter, and until the next time, slán.